Hey, this is Brittany Watkins, and we are back for day 2 of the free video mini-series. So what we're talking about here is the 7 subconscious weight loss blockers. And I'm not going to teach you about all 7 of them, but I'm going to teach you about 3 of the most common ones. And today we're talking about self-sabotage. I wanted to start with the most complicated one, because this was the one that was the hardest for me. It was actually the last one that I figured out. I figured out all the other ones before this one, and it's the most complicated. So if you notice a pattern of self-sabotage in your life, if you notice, gosh, why can't I make myself stick to a diet? Or, why do I binge when I know I'm not really hungry and I'm trying to lose weight? Or why do I keep these, unhealthy foods in the house? Or why do I keep eating chocolate and things like that? That's always going to come down to self-sabotage. And you probably are beating yourself up. I mean, if you're anything like me, I spent years beating myself up, trying to figure out why I can't make myself stick to a diet. Why, when I give myself a rule, I don't follow it. It's a really, really frustrating pattern to be in. And so my hope today is that I solve the mystery for you and teach you what's actually at the core of that. So we're just going to get right in. So if you have problems with self-sabotage, a lot of people think, oh, well, I just have bad willpower, or I just, don't have the motivation, or, you'll have a story about it. So I want you to think about what your story is, why you think you have this sabotage problem, or why you think you can't stick to a diet. And what in all the years that I've been studying, and actually I want to share this book with you. It's called Eastern Body, Western Mind by Anodea Judah. She's a PhD, and she studied psychology and how it relates to the chakra and the energy centers. And you can see this is a very tattered book. This is one of my favorite books because there's a whole diagram appendix at the end where you can look up what the symptom is, and then it'll teach you all about it in here. So this is really good for coaches and healers and therapists. So in chapter 3, and I highly recommend chapter 3 because it's all about this self-sabotage, she says that the way that we develop inner will, so if you think about what self-sabotage is, what's the opposite of that? It's having strong willpower, right? You give yourself a rule and you stick to it. And we all know those people in our lives, right? We all know people that just have no problem sticking to a diet, or they have no problem, following rules, or, achieving their goals. And, I know if you're on the other side of that, you're like, gosh, it's so frustrating. I wish I could do that, right? So I spent a lot of years really studying these people and trying to figure out what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing. And it didn't matter how much I tried to apply their techniques. I even did some NLP stuff. I did so much tapping on this. Nothing ever got to the core of it until I really understood this. And this is what Anodea Judah says in the book, is that your inner will, so your ability to give yourself a rule and follow it, it will mirror the outer authority that you grew up with as a child. So if your authority figure was controlling, or if your authority figure was manipulating, or any one of the millions of different ways our parents could be, it depends on if we didn't respond to that well. Okay, if we didn't respect them. So, for me, I grew up as the rebel, and I know a lot of my students in the Think and Thin Advanced program, we have a lot of rebels. And, I grew up with a very controlling authority figure. And so when you have a very controlling authority figure, the child will react either by following the rules and saying, okay, they're the authority, I'm going to follow it. And usually those kids don't really have a hard time following rules later in life. But when the child rebels, and when the child doesn't feel, I know for me and for a lot of my students, there's a feeling of disrespect. Like, well, why do I have to follow these rules? Well, give me a good reason. And if that's not met with kindness and compassion, and with a willingness for the parent to really try to make their child understand why they're giving them this rule, the child will rebel. And so now, as an adult, when you give yourself a rule, it's like your parent or your authority figure giving you that rule. And so think about, if you had your authority figure standing over you going, you better not eat that food, how does that make you feel inside? Does it make you feel angry, or like you want to go crazy, or does it make you feel scared, or how does it make you feel? So some people will react by, and think about this, if you were like this as a child. If your parent gave you a rule, you would say, yes, 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 okay, sure, mommy, daddy, sure, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then behind their back, you do something else. And so for you, in your case, you probably tell everybody that you're going to be on this diet, and you tell everybody you're on a healthy eating plan, but then you secretly will go and binge, or you screw up and you don't tell anybody. And so, that's the pattern. That's the pattern for that relationship with your authority figure as well. So see how it has absolutely nothing to do with your motivation. It has literally, and this is such a difficult thing to understand. So as we grow ourselves up, and this is some of the heavy duty work that we do in the Think and Thin programs. As you work on this relationship with your authority figure and you grow yourself up and you actually take your power back from your authority figure, and you do some really, really intense tapping on it, what it enables you to do is have a healthy sense of your own inner will. So when you give yourself a rule, you're able to stick to it. It's not your parent giving you a rule, it's you giving you a rule, and you're coming from a new, healed, fully adult place. So, this is work that 99.9% of people will never do in their lifetimes, and it is not easy. I'm not going to lie to you, it is not easy work. But I promise you, if you dive in and you really look at this relationship that you have with your authority figure, and you really release all of the emotions, all the pain, all the sadnesses that's connected with this person, your life will change. Absolutely change. So I hope that answers a really tough question for you. And tomorrow I'm going to come back with another video, and I'm going to be talking about emotional eating and why we eat emotionally, where it comes from, and hopefully answer some of those questions for you as well. So have a great rest of your day, and talk to you soon. Bye.